It's such a strange time right now, but I'm anticipating an incredibly exciting year ahead. You see, we're so blessed today to be surrounded by the technology that allows us to stay connected. And that's not just with one another, that's with reams of knowledge and information too, right there at our fingertips. We just have to choose what to look at. And when we're feeling a bit anxious, which I think is something that's pretty common at the moment, quite a lot of the time, it's worth remembering that we can switch off from the mainstream headlines, even if it's just for a bit, and delight instead. Get really engrossed in learning about something that really thrills you. And for me, that has always been nature. It seems like this unlimited adventure to learn not just about nature, but how to create with nature. And it takes me right back to being a child. It's like this unexplored world where everything is a surprise, everything tantalizes the senses, and everything has something new and unexpected to offer. Engaging with Winglewood has given me an explosion of ideas and experiments that have really given direction now to where I want this content to go. I started with a concept that was really quite big and quite vague, and all I really knew was I wanted to explore the idea that healthy people and a healthy planet go hand in hand, and that would really look into how we can re-engage our lives with nature and with community, and to prioritise joy in much more of a deliberate way. I've always been very much in awe at how much resource nature can provide. The more I learn about this, the more that grows. It's just fascinates me. And it seems to be knowledge that has readily been quite innately available to us as people for much of our history. And we lost so much of that when we seem to find this turning point of we can do it better. We can do it better because we want things to be faster, we want them to be more convenient, we want them to support populations that are growing and becoming more demanding. And so that relationship with nature kind of dropped off, and a lot of the knowledge alongside. And I know there's a huge amount of people out there who absolutely respect and love and worship even the beauty that nature can offer as a type of escape, I suppose, for the way that modern life has become so fast and so desensitizing even. But I know there's also a lot of people that would say, well, working with nature, natural ways, non-toxic, non-man-made, that they would have the attitude that that's a kind of a bit airy-fairy and it's not practical. It's not going to keep up with the modern world. But for me, I'm starting to think that integrating what nature has to offer into our vast societies is our future. I'm by no means suggesting that we should go back in time, do things the old-fashioned way, so to speak, or look at things with rose-tinted glasses. This is more about combining perspectives, bringing the best that nature has to offer with the best of human technology and ingenuity to create something completely new. As I've written the intros for each of the series at Winglewood, it's really got me thinking at great depths about the way that the different areas of our lives are connected. And in particular, how those connections mean that something in one area of our lives, a problem, can be a solution in another area of our lives. And also how, because everything's joined together, a little improvement can have knock-on effect every time that ripples right out. So the series have seemed to become my very logical way of breaking down the topics of our lives into structured thinking, if you like. Whereas getting hands-on and learning about nature with nature, that's my more intuitive way of understanding solutions that seem to piece everything back together again. I've always found that getting hands-on with learning teaches far more than if you just read about it or watch somebody else even. And I suppose that's why I started the little how-to tips with Winglewood Links. Because even when they seem really small steps, there's something about doing it and taking those actions that you learn so much more about where stuff comes from and how it works, that it gets your mind ticking and you start to feel inspired to learn more and more. I've been doing an awful lot more making than usual and experimenting with new things for me, so hopefully I'll get around to getting some of that edited and share it with you shortly. In fact, I've been very busy in general of late, dealing with unexpected issues such as saving this barn from being eaten by fungus. One of my current obsessions has become pigments and understanding colour, so I've just been making some ink out of a handful of acorns. It's not a bad pastime on these cold days, and it worked out pretty well. I spotted one that was sprouting, so I potted that up to see if it will grow. It seemed like the least I could do this week, since I'd just made the call to get several large trees chopped down. I'm confident it was the right thing to do, though I do still feel bad. I'm trying to use this winter to make preparations for developing this site with permaculture principles. I'm planning to put into action at a bit of a micro scale many of the concepts we'll be exploring through the series at Winglewood. So I'm designing not just for food production, but also for our material needs. I'm working with nature for energy and for managing our waste and many other things. It's just under an acre, the plot here, and there's plenty of buildings for working in and potentially for living in too. I've not shared anything about this with you yet, so I'll introduce you to the place and bring you up to speed with some of my plans in a future video.